Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. John Lynn here with Hugo Coffee Roasters, and today we are going to talk about making Turkish coffee. Turkish coffee is something that's pretty new to me. Well, I guess I should start off by saying my first coffee shop job, we served Turkish coffee, so I did drink a little bit at that point, kind of learned a little bit of the origin story and how to make it. But it's been years and years since I've had a cup or made a Turkish coffee up until maybe like a month ago or so. And then I've been working with somebody in Salt Lake and a few of my friends to try to figure out this old Turkish coffee thing. And it's been going really great. We've had some really good cups of coffee, and I thought I would just kind of share what I've learned with you guys. Turkish coffee is one of the oldest brewing methods, probably the oldest brewing method that we still use today, that's still commonplace in a lot of countries and a lot of cultures. And we're basically heating the water and the coffee together, and there will be no filter. So when we drink our cup of coffee, all the grounds that are going to be in the Ibec right here, this little water pot, it will be poured into the cup. All the coffee and all the grounds will still be mixed together. So what'll end up happening is we'll have a little bit of kind of sludge, mud on the bottom right here. We don't drink the last bit of the cup of Turkish coffee just because a lot of sediment in there. But it makes for a really rich, really delicious cup of coffee. So I'm going to show you guys how to make this. First thing we're going to do is get our coffee ready. I'm going to go ahead and weigh out some coffee here. I like to use 7 grams of coffee per 100 grams of water. And today we're going to be using a washed coffee from Tanzania, coffee that I really like and has been really good when using this brew method. So I'm just going to go ahead and weigh out my 7 grams here. There we go. I'm going to throw a little bit of extra coffee into this grinder and run it through real quick just to kind of purge any old coffee that might be in there, especially since we're going to be grinding so fine. Okay, now that we've kind of purged and cleared out our grinder, we're going to grind the 7 grams that we weighed out. Now with Turkish coffee, it's really important that we grind extremely fine, finer than espresso. So it's going to be probably the finest setting on most of your grinders. I have my Barazza Encore here set on a 2. So it gives you an idea. Really, really fine grinds. And of course, because it's so fine, it takes a while for the grinder to get all that coffee ground, of course. So give me just 1 second. It's not wanting to grind all of the beans. So I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a few more beans in there to kind of weigh it down, and then I'll weigh it afterwards. I just think there's not enough pressure on top to push the coffee beans down into the grinder. So we're just going to grind a little bit extra right now, and then after it's done grinding, we'll go ahead and weigh out our coffee again back into our brew pot here. Okay, so we've got our coffee. I'm just gonna tear out my scale and I'm gonna put my 7 grams of coffee right into my brew pot. There we go. And now because we're using such little amounts of coffee, we want to make sure every little bit gets right inside there. Okay, we've tared our coffee pot out. We've got our coffee in there. Now we're going to add our water. Like I said, we're doing 7 grams of coffee to 100 grams of water. So I'm going to go ahead and pour 100 grams of water into my brew pot. Now, what a lot of people like to do is they have their favorite cup that they're going to be using for Turkish coffee, something a little bit smaller, Dimitas cup. They usually fill that with water, and so that's their measurement. So they don't weigh out their water every time. They'll fill their cup into their brew pot, and they know exactly how much coffee they want per their cup. So that's another really good way to do it. So I'm just pouring my 100 grams of water. There we go. And now I'm just going to give this a quick stir. A lot of times in Turkish coffee, you're going to see a little bit of sugar poured in there, about a teaspoon or so. Really commonplace, makes for a really good cup of coffee. I personally don't like to do it, so I'm going to skip that step for me. But this is the time where you would add your sugar. All right, now it's time to brew. So you can use your stove. I have a little backpacking jet boil stove right here that I'm going to be using. They make little heaters and stuff for this specifically. So any way you can conduct heat into this is going to be a way that's going to work great. What I like to do is start at a higher heat, go for about 15 seconds. Then we're going to turn down to a medium heat. And then in about 45 seconds, I'm going to turn to a lower heat. And I'm looking for about a minute and a half brew time from the time I set this up here, from the time that I'm ready to pour this into my cup. Also, I'm going to have Blaine, one of our other roasters here. He's going to grab the camera in just a minute. Bear with him, it might be a little shaky, but he's going to walk over here, kind of pan down and show you exactly what's going on inside our Ibec right here, our water pot. So you can kind of see what we're seeing as we're making this cup of coffee. So Blaine, if you wouldn't mind kind of walking over here. Like I said, bear with us, folks. I hope you're ready for a roller coaster ride. Okay, so I'm starting my timer. Whoops. There we go. Right now, we're going to set this on here on our high heat. Okay, it's been about 15 seconds. I'm going to kind of turn that down to a little bit more of a medium heat right here. Woo. Careful, that does get pretty hot. There we go. So if you guys can kind of see, there's going to be kind of a light tan color that's going to come on top of this, and it's slowly going to keep rising. We're never going to get it to a hard boil, but we will get kind of a nice crust and a real good froth on there. All right, we're about a minute in. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to a little bit, kind of a medium low. And we're going to let this kind of rock and roll. So we can kind of start to see we're getting a little kind of bubble ring that's building up right around the edges. And it's going to start moving in towards the center. And let's see if I can kind of get in there a little bit. So we can kind of see these rings building up right around here. It's kind of folding over the center. We got our full fold. We're rising, and at that point, we're going to pull. Thank you so much, Blaine, for your awesome handiwork there. At this point, we can go ahead and take our cup here. We're going to pour this thick, good, dark coffee right into our demi-tasse cup. And you have a delicious cup of Turkish coffee right here. Now, this coffee is going to be pretty hot, so we're going to want to let it kind of hang out and sit for a minute. Another thing, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but typically in a lot of our brew videos, we would go ahead and preheat our cups with hot water so we're not sucking a lot of the heat from the actual coffee. Because this coffee is so hot, we're going to go ahead and keep this cup cold so we can suck some of that heat out. Also, it's going to help draw down a lot of those grounds and a lot of that sediment that's in that cup when we hit it with when we hit the hot coffee into this cold cup. So we're going to kind of give this a couple minutes. I would say maybe 2 minutes or so. Those grounds are going to settle so they're not all up front, and also going to be at a better drinking temperature. So what we're looking for is that nice kind of thick foam to kind of come up. At that point, we're going to pull it off and pour it right into our cup. And then 2 minutes later, we can enjoy. Hope you guys give this a try. Hope you guys enjoy some good Turkish coffee at home. And yeah, appreciate you viewing and have a good day. Bye-bye.